public comment until the end of the meeting, and we will read the public comment prior to any vote at the end of the meeting, depending on what is appropriate. Thank you. All right, seeing it is 7 o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting to order for the West Rock Hill Township Board of Supervisors, March 15th meeting. And I would like to lead off by pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda is public comment. Does anybody have any public comment on the agenda items? If you do, please raise your hand, state your name and address. I do not see any on my screen.
There's none on mine.
I will move forward to announcements. We will be holding an executive session tonight after the meeting for real estate and legal matters. And moving forward, next on the agenda is consent agenda. February 15th, 2023 meeting minutes, the WIN plan review status, escrow, release of vouchers, the emergency services report, the building and zoning permit report, public works report, conservation committee report. And Greg, I'd like to ask you to read the treasury report, if you may, for us, please, and payment of bills.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The first item is the general fund, $749,663.28. Highway aid, $5,148.14. Open space, $1,421,629.99. The park fund, $45,007.09. The equipment fund, $1,671.37. Highway capital, $132.50. Street lighting, $34,571.36. The reserve funds, the general fund reserve, $455,367.60. The American Rescue Fund fund, $550,948.29. Open space Manderfield, $41,542.60. The sewage maintenance fund, $193,633.75. The stormwater fund, $11,556.19. And the escrow funds, $2,404,175.09.
Beautiful. Thank you. Very good. Anybody have any questions, my fellow supervisors, on the consent agenda or the treasurer's report?
I have none. Dick Collingwood, I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Yep, I have no questions, but did want to congratulate the fire companies that I saw did pretty well on their ham dinner. If I remember, Telford also did their cook-off and got good work. Tylersport had, I think, 2 raffles, which went well. And if I remember, Trimbarsville is doing their Easter flower sale coming up in, I think, April 5th. So thanks to all the fire companies and everybody who volunteers. And I will second the motion.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for pointing those issues out, Hal. And we have a motion made second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Ayes have it. Thank you. Moving forward, confirmed appointments are next. I don't see any on here, so we have none. Moving forward, committee reports is next. The first on the committee reports is the Planning Commission report. Mr. Chris Durstein. How are you, Chris?
I'm good. Thank you, Jay. So Planning Commission met last night. We had 2 applicants, first being Triple Net Investments. As you all know, they're proposing a 363,000 square foot warehouse on about a 30-acre tract that is to be subdivided off the North American Dragger property on Quarry Road. This report is very similar to last month, so I'm gonna be brief. They cleaned up some items that we asked them to do at our last meeting. They inserted quite a bit of extra buffering plantings along property boundaries that bordered with Tupper Lutheran and the back of Landis and the Hillcroft development to the north. Everybody seemed pretty happy with their efforts there. They also had a walking path that connected to the Telford sidewalks and whatnot, their infrastructure there. They originally had it going through the Lutheran home, and Lutheran home had some objections to that, so they relocated that to keep it primarily on the property. Like I said, this is an abridged version of what happened last night. They were in seeking preliminary final. They had a handful of waivers, which we are recommending granting, and we're also recommending conditional preliminary final on plan approval. And they will most likely be in for the April meeting to present. So that's it for triple net for now. Do you have any questions on that?
I have none.
I have none.
I was listening into the commission meeting yesterday, so I have none.
Okay. So the second applicant was Veris Partners, another warehouse project that you guys are well aware of. They're proposing a 185,000 square foot warehouse on Meeting House Road. They have already received preliminary approval for their plan and had cleaned up a few outstanding items, looking for final approval. One of the items, they originally had a foot screening fence, a solid screening fence for the truck parking area. After doing some research and to fully hide the tractor trailers, they decided to raise that fence from 8 foot to 12 foot, which will fully screen, according to their data, that you won't be able to see any of their tractor trailers that are parked there. Another issue was suggested at the supervisors meeting last month, that they continue sidewalk from the south side of the contractor services property to State Road, in anticipation of Wawa coming in to have. They're already planning to put sidewalk in from the entrance to the warehouse down to contractor service, who already has sidewalk. It was commented that they should continue that all the way to State, in anticipation of the Wawa. They did not really feel that it was their responsibility until the Wawa would actually come in. Planning Commission was somewhat in agreement with them. They have I think a $75,000 offer to handle any future improvements at the intersection of State and Quarry. So we're figuring that if sidewalks need to go in, some of the money can come out of that fund. Now, all that said, again, I'm going to be brief with this one because you've heard it a few times already. They were seeking final approval, and Planning Commission is recommending conditional final approval on that plan. So do you have any questions on that?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Chris, having a little experience in this, you mentioned that they were going to raise the fence height to 12 feet.
Yes.
Is there an angle that will hide? A tractor trailer measures 13.6 sometimes, some of the taller ones. And you had stated that they said that you wouldn't be able to see the trailers. So I was just curious, how far away are the trailers from the fence? I didn't look at that close. Or is there an angle that would protrude up with the fence that you wouldn't be able to see the trailers anyway?
There's a fair amount of an elevation rise there.
Okay, then that'll cover it.
Yeah, it's according to their data, then they provided some landscape shots that showed it.
And I figured that might be. I was just making the comment or raising the question, because if they were backed right up against the fence, you would still be able to see the top of the trailers.
Understood.
By a foot and a half. Okay, that's the only question I had regarding that matter. Thank you.
Okay. So last thing on my report, as discussed in last supervisors meeting, PC member John Sweariduct was going to supply you guys with some information regarding some ideas to further preserve some of the township's natural resources, which I'm told that you guys have received and hopefully have perused. And John would like to just touch on that this evening. So if it's all right, I'm going to turn this over to John Swearduck. John, if you're on board.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
John,
Yes.
you have 5 minutes. You may proceed whenever you're ready. Okay, Greg, you keep the time?
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Purpose of this can everybody see the document?
Yep.
Thank you. The purpose of this document is to present to the West Rock Hill Township Board of Supervisors what many believe is the need for further action to help protect the township's natural resources. Environmental sustainability, habitat protection, and maintaining the scenic beauty and rural character of our community are all concerns that many of our residents have expressed as our township continues to grow. Despite an economic downturn, higher interest rates, and a pandemic, the trend toward growth continues. Our township's present intent to prioritize open space must be enhanced to strengthen the protection of our priceless natural resources. West Rock Hill Township's current zoning ordinance expresses the desire and mechanism to protect the township's land through either private donations, public funding, or code requirements for set-aside in land subdivisions. However, there are currently no open space requirements for our most environmentally sensitive areas. Therefore, progress is limited by the goodwill of the residents to donate their land or the availability of public funds for land purchases by the township. Protection of the area's natural resources through zoning ordinance can be accomplished in several ways. One method that is not part of the township's current zoning code is the use of specifically focused zoning overlay districts. The implementation of these districts can increase the level of protection of the township's natural resources from a level of development that negatively impacts the township's rural character. The use of zoning overlay districts can help provide water resource protection, agricultural land protection, wildlife habitat protection, and scenic protection. In the 2019 West Rock Hill Township Comprehensive Plan Resident Survey, in response to the question, why did you choose to live in West Rock Hill Township? The top response was rural lifestyle. In response to the question, what characteristic of West Rock Hill are most important to protect? The top response was scenic beauty. Public comments at Board of Supervisors meetings, zoning hearing board meetings, and planning commission meetings consistently reiterate the residents' concern for managing growth in order to not lose the rural character of the township. Also from the residents' survey, areas that receive the highest level of support from the residents: agricultural development, water resources, growth management, environmental sustainability, and community character. The areas that received the lowest level of favorability were residential development, industrial development, commercial development. Though all three of these characteristics were more unfavorable than increased taxes. Bucks County has developed a document titled its Natural Areas Inventory, identifying areas of the county that it sees being important areas to protect from environmentally damaging activity. Much of West Rock Hill Township falls into two of these areas. The county document is also intended to be used by local municipalities in establishing their comprehensive plans and zoning ordinances. The two areas identified by the county that impact West Rock Hill are the Nakamixon-Haycock Conservation Landscape and the Upper Unami Creek Conservation Landscape. Developers are not going away, and development will not be stopped, but it continues to be a priority of many of our residents to protect the natural environment, the natural environmental health, and natural beauty of our township for many generations to come. Clean air, clean water, and the overall rural character of our township can effectively exist with thoughtful and careful planning for continued growth in our community. However, history has proven that without additional safeguard of proactive protective measures, once our priceless natural resources are lost, they are lost forever. With this challenge before us, the West Rock Hill Township Board of Supervisors is requested to grant an approval of concept for the West Rock Hill Township Planning Commission to continue to investigate natural resource protection measures to be added to our existing zoning code. Measures that are intended to maintain the scenic beauty, rural character, and healthy vibrant natural environment for our beloved community. Thank you. And just as a note, this item was reviewed at last night's Planning Commission and received unanimous support from the Planning Commission members. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. Any questions regarding that from Mr. Collingwood or Mr. Shermer?
I have no
Concerns?
question. It's at last night's meeting. First of all, John, I think it's represents a lot of work on your part, and I think it's very well done. I thank you for your efforts. I think it echoes our residents' concerns. They want, a rural lifestyle. They want it with scenic beauty, and I think the key word takeaway for me was protect. So I think you said you're looking for board approval of concept to move forward. Is that correct, John?
That is correct, David.
Yes. All right. That's my comments. I certainly approve of your efforts, and I approve of moving forward with it. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr.
Mary,
Chairman.
you may. Go ahead.
I'd like a few minutes of giving the board legal advice before you put this on an agenda to move forward.
All right.
Yeah, I wasn't going
And
to
that
put it on the
wouldn't have
agenda.
to be that wouldn't be at a public meeting, obviously.
Right. I do want to point out one thing from my perspective, and I do understand the concept here and the wish. The survey that I know we did and sent out to the township several years ago, one of the top 3 things on there was do not raise my taxes. Now, you said that people said that it was okay to raise taxes. I don't agree with that. I don't know where you got that word from, but the survey that I saw says do not raise my taxes. That was one of the 3 things, along with police and along with good roads.
That is correct. That is correct. But if you look at the data that I presented, which is from that document, when you look at the areas that people are least favorable of, development fell below that. The level of support for residential development was 14% favorability from the residents. Taxes, while low, was at 32%.
Right.
Those are the numbers.
Okay. All right. Hal, you have any comments or concerns regarding this matter before we would take Mary's recommendation on what we would do here, whether we table it or whether we agree to allow the concept to move forward? I'd like to hear Mary's comments myself personally, and of course that would be an executive session. Hal?
Hal, you're muted.
There we go. So no, I did want to thank John for all the work. I did want to mention that I was on the initial open space committee and then became chairman in 2000. So I am quite familiar with this. I did mention that I was the local guide for Morris Arboretum, Dr. Rhodes, Dr. Hill Zacharias, Dr. Willig, and then Dr. Smith when we were tramping all through Upper Bucks County, including most of West Rock Hill. And I will take a time to go through all my photos and the layout of where I got the photos from so that we have some more information on this. I do agree with the idea of looking into resource-based zoning. I applaud John's dedication going through all of this, and I think it's a good issue to start looking into. I listened into the meeting, so I'm familiar with it, and I just, if it's possible, I think it might be appropriate to just, I guess, mention or incorporate the, John's prior presentation starting at 1 hour and 50 minutes in yesterday's Planning Commission, which is up and available on YouTube on the Township YouTube channel. That's it.
Okay, thank you. John, I would like to also express your great efforts in all your work that you've done to go into this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That being said, I would like to table this until I've had chance to listen to Mary's legal advice regarding that matter. So with that being said, I do hear that we do have some support, and I'm not saying that we would not go forward with stuff like this, but I want to know all the facts before, because I do think of the small property owner that buys a lot that just barely makes that's all they can afford and barely makes the limit as far as being able to build a house. I want to make sure that we don't take away property owner rights from citizens, because we are elected to serve all citizens and not just certain ones. So that being said, I want to table this until I've heard some legal advice.
And I don't,
Okay?
just speaking personally, I don't think there was any intention by either me or any of the planning commission members to impede on personal property rights. Obviously, anything that we want to do, we want to make sure that it's legally sound, and that it's fair to everyone going forward.
Okay, that's fair enough. Thank you.
I think we have a motion. I seconded. Do we have a call?
Nobody made it. I didn't ask for a motion.
Well, to
I asked
table
to
it.
table this. Yes.
Well, it's an action.
asked-
Okay.
Okay, I'm not hearing you right. Sorry, Hal. Can you repeat what you said, please?
You said to table this, which is normally a motion, so I took
Okay.
that as a motion and I second that to table this issue, just for Robert's Rules of Order.
Yep. All right, my motion's been made to table this. It's been seconded by Mr. Shermer. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We will revisit this next month for sure. It'll be on the agenda. Chris, do you have anything else regarding the planning commission report?
I do not. I just reiterate everything John has come up with. And again, appreciate all his hard work and efforts. And I do look forward to hearing what Mary tells you guys. So that is my report for tonight. If you have any questions, I'll answer them. If not, we're good to go.
Anybody have any questions for Chris?
I have none.
Okay,
I have none.
I'll entertain a motion for approval of the planning commission report.
I'll move to approve.
Second, David Collingwood.
Okay, motion's been made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you, Chris. Wonderful job. Thank you, Mr. Swearduck.
You're welcome.
Next on the agenda is the Park and Rec, Mr. Dave Wright.
All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Getting a little bit warmer weather on Friday, so it'll be a little chilly tonight, but getting ready for park weather. And it's baseball season, so there's nothing bad about that. All right. I got a couple things on the item, agendas on the item. From 1 month from today, we have our fishing derby, our annual fishing derby. I believe it's our 12th year, if I'm not mistaken, from 9 to 12 on April 15th at James Memorial Park. We have a lot of sponsors, donations. Big shout out to Jay for continuing to reach out to all the sponsors that we get for continuing to make sure our fishing derby is a success with all the donations for the fish, for the prizes. Another big shout out to our committee for continuing to make sure that it is a priority because it is a huge success. We have a new fire pit this year, so we're going to be testing that out with the hot dogs. Mr. Strobel's coming back to help us out with the new fire pit, so we're going to have some hot dogs and be ready for that. We have Kimber Moore's going to be selling some bait. We have the Holiday House Pool. They're going to stop by and they're going to have some information just in case anybody has any questions. Glenn Rice is going to be the fillet station. You can't beat that. You catch the fish, you get the fillet station. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And of course, we'll have the hand washing station that we have now. So it's going to be a full day. Well, from 9 to 12, and then you'll see the park will be packed after that. Everybody fishing with their licenses, of course. Next up, we have feature film in a fire, which is going to be July 29th. We're still working on the details as far as the movie and all those fine-tuned details. But again, July 29th, we have September Fest coming up. September 24th. That is always the last Sunday in September. We have 2 food trucks lined up. We have performers, concessions, all those things coming up. The letters are going out for to make sure we have, again, we're very fortunate where we get our sponsors, where we get our donations. So we're very fortunate in being able to provide for our community. So we have a great community to reach out to. And the response is excellent. Some really exciting news. We have 2 new youth members of the Park and Rec Committee. Jody's 2 daughters, Jessica and Emily, will be joining us if we get approval from the Board of Supervisors tonight. It was unanimously approved that we could, if we could get an approval from the Board of Supervisors, hopefully everybody's okay with that. We have also coming up a purchase for signs. So we're going to get some new sandwich signs. So the sandwich signs are what we put out, or the road crew puts out on for September Fest to advertise. We have some of those coming up. We have 5 of those, which is what we always had. They always go on the outside of the township, and there's 5 of those. Greg has all the information, but it's about $1,400 for some signs for 5 of them. Now you got to imagine those were heavy signs made of plywood. They lasted for 7 years. So they lasted for a long time. So somebody stole one last time. So I don't know what's wrong with people. Maybe it was the plywood. I don't know. But so we're going to look to replace those with some new and improved signs with your approval, of course. And we also we're excited actually for April 29th. We're looking for approval to have a Girl Scout Liberty Trail Service Unit. So it's a Girl Scouts from middle school. There's about 6 of them. They're going to be looking to have a presentation and to plant 2 trees next to our tot lot, which would be sycamore trees. And I was just talking to the one mom who was giving me some more details. They're going to have a presentation from like 10 to 1 that day, where they're going to include, they're going to have a couple different things. They're going to actually have the dedication to the previously planted trees. They're actually going to monitor the trees throughout the course of the life of the trees, which is kind of exciting. They're going to be on a database, I think a national database for the Girl Scouts to monitor the trees for the life of the trees. I think the goal is, I forget what Erica was telling me, 50,000 trees. It was some astronomical number across the country, which I thought was great. And the Girl Scouts are going to be doing the presentation. They're also going to be bringing in a landscape architect, a tree expert, a beekeeper to talk about pollinators is what they call it. And that is on April 29th from 10 to 1. So we're looking for approval to make sure we're able to plant those. I don't know if Greg has a picture ready to show where the trees are going to be set up. Right over there in spot number 10. So in a couple years with the sycamores, you'll have the runoff from the baseball fields, which is normally wet. You have some of that stuff. It can be wet and dry over there. Those 2 sycamores growing up, we provide a ton of shade for the tot lot. So that was why we thought about that location specifically for those. And like I say, it's easily accessible. And we'll have more information on that, and probably as far as they want to make a community event out of it. So we'll be giving you more information on that. I'll post that on the website. Let's see. I think the request for the Girl Scouts, the request for the new Park and Rec members, and the purchase of the signs. I think I got everything. I think that's all. Any questions?
I have none. Just I have a brief comment regarding the fishing derby there. The donations from the wonderful contributors that support this thing every year have already committed. I think I added yesterday $3,450 or something like that for fish. So we're about $600, $700 short yet of what we need, but we still have some that didn't come in yet. And I will say the wonderful people at Tractor Supply gave us a great break on that grill from $285 down to, I think we paid $110 or something like that, $113, which was wonderful. So the support of the community and the people of this community makes great events like September Fest and as well as the fishing derby. So I want to thank the Park and Rec Committee as well for all their efforts and the time they put in. There's a lot that goes on behind this just to put that day together, and many, many hours. So thank you, Dave.
Absolutely. I will convey that message to all the members because we actually have an opening for a full-time member and an alternate. So anybody that knows anybody,
I will share something with you. There is a person that's going to come to our next meeting that's interested in full-time membership that I met on Saturday when I was driving around looking at the condition of the roads in this township. And he happened to be outside while it was raining. So we do have somebody that's going to be coming forward.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Any other questions for Mr. Rice?
Oh, not a question per se, but a comment, just good work. I did want to mention that we are looking for board members, not just volunteers. Usually volunteers are the guys who are, you're there with a shovel and a rake, which is coming up for, I know, Little League, coming up for Holiday House, but we actually are looking for board members to help guide the future of the park, which is not just going out and raking and pulling weeds. This is actually, we're looking for qualified individuals. We are looking for qualified individuals who have good ideas and want to make a contribution back. Managed to be at the Park and Rec meeting. I think actually hit the grand slam of making every single meeting that the township has with all the different groups. So, but very good work, and I think that the idea of getting some shade for the tot lot does make a lot of sense.
Okay. Mr. Collins, would you have any concerns or questions for Mr. Rice before we ask for approval?
Yeah, I do have a question.
Okay.
It's concerning, you call these two new people, you call them junior members?
Youth members.
Youth members. This is the first I'm hearing about this. The question I have is to our solicitor. Is there any issues here with someone of that age group being part of this organization or part of this effort? I just want to make
Actually,
sure.
I think there's a track record for.
We used to have, David, we used to have actually youth members back in the day when Charlie's granddaughter was on it. She was one of the youth members. We had Mr. Schreemeyer's son. I believe Michael was a youth member as well. So we had several years where we did, and then they graduated, moved on, and got older.
Mr. Kohler's son too was on there.
Yes, I knew I missed somebody. Thanks.
I believe at one point. We haven't been able to attract any, David. We've tried over the years to go to the schools to get high school kids, and we haven't been able to do it. But I would say when I first started out as a supervisor, there was youth members on there, and Emily, Charlie's granddaughter, was the first one that I noticed.
Yeah.
So we do. If you look back through, you will find, Greg, I don't know if we have that documentation in our records, but we have had several. I can recall at least 3 since I've been involved.
Great, thank
I
you.
would have to go back and look that up.
I just was looking for Mary's comment.
Very good.
I was going to say there is no legal impediment to doing that, David.
All right, thank you very much. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving forward, and I will make a motion to approve the Park and Rec report as presented, and to approve the appointing of the 2 youth members and the planting of the trees in the park, and also I think there was a purchase of the signs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Sandwich boards. Okay. Motion's been made.
Thank
I
you.
will second that 4-part motion.
Okay, motion been made and second. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving forward, next on the agenda is the commission reports. Mr. Paul Dickinson, Chief, how are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty well, Mr. Chairman. I have the February 2023 activity report for the Penn Regional Police Department. We responded to 630 calls for service. Of those 630 calls, 268 of them were in East Rock Hill Township. The remaining 362 were in West Rock Hill Township. We handled 14 traffic crashes in February. 7 of them were reportable. 7 of them were non-reportable. 6 were in East Rock Hill and 8 were in West Rock Hill Township. Officers responded to 2 Part 1 crimes and 28 Part 2 crimes, totaling 30 crimes for the month. The reported crimes in East Rock Hill Township in February was 1 assault, 2 frauds, 2 criminal mischiefs, 4 charges of a sex offense against a minor, narcotics, possession of a drug paraphernalia, 2 DUIs, 1 cruelty to animals, 1 dog law, and 1 dumping complaint. West Rock Hill Township crimes reported was 1 domestic assault, 2 frauds, 1 criminal mischief report, 2 DUIs, 5 harassment complaints, 2 trespass complaints, and 1 authorized use of a motor vehicle. The criminal charges that we filed in February of 2023, 1 charge of theft of a motor vehicle, 1 for receiving stolen property, 1 charge of DUI, 4 charges of possession of drug paraphernalia, 3 charges of drug possession, 1 charge of retail theft, 1 dog law citation, 1 burning citation, 2 trespassing complaints. 2 trespassing charges filed, 1 criminal mischief charge, 1 dumping charge, 2 charges of assault, 2 charges of disorderly conduct, 2 charges of animal cruelty, 1 charge of harassment, and then an additional charge of DUI. Other activities for the police department in February: 180 traffic enforcement details, 85 traffic citations, 112 traffic warnings, 21 school checks were conducted, 110 park checks were conducted, 1 foot patrol was conducted, and our officers attended 263 hours of training in February. Overall, year to date, we have responded to 1,484 calls for service, 40 traffic crashes, 71 offenses have been reported. We have filed 48 criminal charges, and our officers have attended 496 hours of training so far for 2023. And that would be the activity report for February 2023.
Okay, thank you very much. Very detailed report. Does anybody have any questions for the chief on that report?
Actually, just one.
Seeing none?
Well, one question, Chief, only because we had the Penridge Coordinating Committee, which included the school board members. I see 21 school checks. Just double checking that we have West Rock Hill Elementary is within the school, within the police boundaries. So is Sellersville, because that Sellersville Elementary is in West Rock Hill. And then you have the high school and the middle school. The school checks, are those mostly high school? Or
School checks are only assigned to the elementary schools.
Okay.
The officers only walk through the elementary schools. They do the best they can throughout their shifts to make sure they get into the schools at least one school shift. And that's mainly just so they can learn the layout of the schools in case they have to respond to an emergency, and also to interact with the young children at the schools.
Okay, thanks.
Very good, thank you. Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the chief report.
So moved, David Collingwood.
Motion's been made, Mr. Collingwood. Second, Mr. Shermer. All those signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate your report. Next on the agenda, the Joint Rec Authority report. Mr. Kevin Dietz, how are you, sir?
Good morning. Good morning. Good evening. How are you guys? Sorry, I'm working on a 24/7 job in Middletown, Langhorne. We got 413 closed down, so I'm going to try to make this quick and easy. And if you guys don't mind, I'll answer all your questions, and I'm going to leave. So
Okay.
I just got there. So it's far to date. In February, I told you we had 39 applications. As of today, we have a total of 79 applications for year to date for the pool.
Talking about membership, membership?
Yep.
Not,
Yes, sir.
Not lifeguards.
Lifeguards, I sent every one of you guys a email, including Greg, that we are fully staffed for lifeguards. We have 20 plus 1 floater. I have 8 people behind the desk, and I have a ground maintenance guy. I am fully staffed. So I was fully staffed about Monday after the board meeting, or the supervisors meeting, excuse me. So, so the applications for this year for West Rock Hill is 15. And for Sellersville, it's 33. The rest are in the vicinity areas. Last time this year, we only had 12 at this time last year. So we are way ahead of schedule for getting memberships. And for the season last year, we had 336. West Rock Hill had 49. Sellersville had 90. The rest were Quakertown and surrounding areas. So we are doing the work. I had an open window for the skimmers to get done. That is being done as we speak. I'm getting 3 of them done for $1,800 a piece by Stu Feldman, who built the pool. We did have the dine and donate. It was a very good showing. Had a lot of people come out, enjoyed everybody's company. Hal did tell me that, Jay, you couldn't make it, and unfortunately we did have a good time. That being said, we are getting signs made. We voted to do almost like the campaign signs. We're getting 50 of them double-sided. I'd like to ask a couple people. I know Hal will put them. Jay, I was going to ask if I could put one on your property. It just says the Holiday House to be opened Memorial Day weekend. Come and join us. So it's a nice sign. I think I sent it to you guys in a packet that you should have had last month. But that being said, that's where we're at right now. We are having a cleanup this weekend on Saturday if the weather holds out. If it doesn't, we're still going to do the bathroom graffiti and all that and clean that up. But we're moving ahead of schedule. Actually, we're ahead of schedule. So,
Well, from my perspective, it sounds like you're doing well. I am concerned about the amount of people. I think I asked last month of what does it take? How much membership does it take to run that pool to be successful? Did we ever come up with a number?
I think the number was like 200 to 250 to be successful. Plus, that also does not include the star camp that we have coming, which they're donating they're giving us $25,000.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, I did have a couple ideas, and there is one I'm going to share with you that I decided that I was going to do to support the pool, because I do think pool is important, and I'd like to see the pool be successful. And my support is I'm going to purchase a season ticket for 4, and I'm going to have it raffled off at the kids fishing derby.
Awesome.
So
Thank you. Thank you.
I wanted to ask if the Holiday House Pool Commission, the Joint Rec Authority, has ever thought of sending mailers out like we do for September Fest or like we do for the fishing derby.
We did already.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes.
And then the other question I had, or a thought, was has there ever been given any consideration for a GoFundMe page to save the pool or support the pool?
I didn't want to do that yet because of all the bad publicity we got on Facebook last year, because we accepted them, and I don't want to. I mean, we did talk about that, and I kind of shot that down because I am getting a huge amount of donations and big donations that are helping me out. And I didn't want to extend the olive branch. I knew where you're going with that, but I wanted to see how we made, I mean, we right now, like I said, you guys had asked for the lifeguards. We have the lifeguards. We're getting memberships. I mean, we're doing very well when it comes to memberships. So I think this year's going to be phenomenal, and I was going to ask actually David if I could use the sign behind the historical building that I could put out in front of the pool just to say the Holiday House is going to be open, starting on Memorial Day. The one that they have out, the one that's behind the historical building, the toe behind one, if that's okay with you guys. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's a mobile sign that is parked behind the barn.
Is that for use for somebody, or do I have to ask?
It can be, and I'm sure it would be fine with the Historical Society. I'll check with them, but I'm sure they'll certainly support that.
All right. Okay. I mean, but the GoFundMe, Jay, I do agree with you, but I just want to see. I didn't want to do that olive branch yet. I wanted to wait and see how we make out. I mean, we're only in March and we're already at 79 applicants. So,
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I think you've done a great job. And I'll tell you something. I said this before. It is important that the township, if the township's going to support it, we have to have an effort to make sure that we have enough. The lifeguards are key. Without having the lifeguards to fund this, you can't open the pool. And if you can't open the pool, the people can't go to the pool. And if the people can't go to the pool, why did they pay the money?
Exactly. And they're already going through their classing now. So they're all getting certified right now. So as the end of April, everybody will be certified. And like I said, I hope to have water in that pool by the beginning of May. So it heats up and people aren't complaining that it's too cold.
Right.
So.
Okay. Do either of my fellow supervisors have any other questions or concerns for Mr. Dietz before we decide where we're going with this?
Kevin, real quick question. David Collingwood here. I kind of interrupted you in the beginning when you were throwing out those numbers. Could you just quickly review those membership numbers with me one more time?
Sure. Yeah. For this year?
Right. For what you have right now.
Okay. I have 79 applicants. I have 15 from West Rock Hill. I have 33 from Sellersville, and the rest are the surrounding areas.
Okay. And your goal, if you're at 79 now, you say like your goal is like what, as high as you can get, obviously,
Yeah.
200, 250 to.
It's 200, we'd be good. Anything over that, I think will be very good. I think, like I said, in 2021 with Quakertown, we had 336, but I think we should be very well ahead of the game. I mean, we're almost at where we were, halfway with Sellersville already. You know what I'm saying, with 79. So
I will share, Mr. Collingwood, I will share here. I have some numbers that I've been keeping track of. And the last time the pool was open, I think we had 60 season ticket holders from West Rock Hill and 122 from Sellersville, I believe. If those numbers are correct that I had written down here. However, we got a ways to go from 15 to West Rock Hill to 60, but you can count on one more for sure.
I appreciate that.
All right.
With that being said, also, I am having some work done, and I did ask you guys, I met the quota for the lifeguards. Am I able to get the capital improvement money?
From my perspective, I'm willing to commit the 13,000 that we normally commit.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mr. Collingwood, you have a concern or objection to that?
I'd make a motion to make that happen. Yes.
Okay, so you're making the motion. I will second it. Or I seconded Hal. You're supporting it, I'm sure, Hal, because I think you're on the Joint Rec Authority, aren't you not?
Yep, I am on the Joint Rec Authority. I usually let you guys make the motion and then second.
Okay, so motion's been made and second to fund the $13,000 of our normal contribution to the Holiday House Pool Joint Rec Authority.
Right.
All those signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, ayes have it. Mr. Dietz, you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work and make us proud.
Thank you very much. And like I said, if there's any other questions, Hal can maybe answer them. I have to go. So
Yep.
I did want to
Have a
make
good evening.
I did have one quick question before Kevin gets off. What is the budget for Holiday House at this year?
the budget.
Yeah.
As far as what, Hal? As far
Yeah.
as
What's the expected total budget? Because I just want to, one of the things which you always get is, what are we doing with this? And I just want to point out that
with the capital improvement monies right now, like I said, the skimmers are getting done. They're all at $1,800. There's 3 of them getting done. The lifeguard stands are getting replaced because they're old. Is that what you're asking?
no. I just want to emphasize that West Rock Hill gives us 13,000, and kind of like Rumpelstiltskin, we spin straw. The Holiday House spins straw into gold after getting 13,000 of Kickstart money. We're up in the 200,000 for the budget.
Yes.
For Holiday House.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So it's, we're go find someplace else that gives you 130% return on investment. So I just want to make sure that we know that for a little bit of seed money, Holiday House gives a huge return of investment that 13,000 translate into 200,000 plus for running the pool. Because of the donations, because of the sales, because of all the work from the volunteers.
And the funny thing is, like 3 months a year.
Yes, I would like to ask, because we did ask this before. This has been an ongoing thing. The township should know the budget of the pool, what it's going to take to run. What does it take to run that pool every year? We have to know that to look at the long range plans and be able to support it.
That's my next endeavor is what we're doing right now is to give you this year is we are doing that. We're writing the numbers down. So this way, moving forward, we know what it's going to cost. But like we took out the lawn mowing from Sellers. Well, we were paying, $16,000 for lawn mowing because we went through, they were the low bidder. We bought it. We actually had a lawn mower donated to us. And we have somebody mowing it. So we're saving money there. So this is the budget that we're going to start doing for you. So long haul, you can see what's going to cost.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. No problem.
Yep. Have a good evening. Thank you again.
Thank you. I'll be out on 413. Don't come up that way. It's closed.
Okay.
See ya.
All right. Moving forward from the Joint Rec Authority. Next on the agenda here is the tax collector's report. Suzanne Clark, how are you this evening?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for. I'm glad I'm here this time. I missed last month, so I do apologize. Okay, for the month of March so far for annual taxes, I've collected $45,577.35. For street light, $258.96. And I just want to let you know, obviously, the county and township tax bills were mailed for March the 1st. There is a discount until April the 30th, the 2% discount. So if anyone knows anyone who has not received a tax bill from me, who should receive a tax bill from me, please have them give me a call, and I will make sure a copy gets out there. And that's all I have to report.
All right. Any questions for Suzanne on the tax report?
I have none.
Okay.
Yep, no questions.
I'll entertain a motion for approval then, Hal.
I will move to approve.
Okay, motion's been made.
Second, David Collingwood.
Second it. All those signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Suzanne. Next on the agenda is the engineer's report. Mr. Bala.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. This may be a very short report because I do not see anyone in the people on the call or the two plans that are on the agenda, the Kozicki property line adjustment and property consolidation. Is there anyone here for these plans?
Yes, Todd Myers, McCowan.
Ah, good. Oh, you have an alias, Todd. That's why I didn't see your name.
I come up as you.
Yeah,
I see you as Kathy. So
that's what I see.
Kathy. Oh, I'm signed on my Kathy, my wife's email account.
okay, good. So why don't you give a brief discussion of what we're starting with the lot line consolidation plan, which is the commercial property on Bethel Pike.
Yes, as Steve indicated, this property is tax map parcel 52-3144. I'm talking, that's the wrong one. That's the Tower Road. My apologies. The lot consolidation, tax map 52-1453 and 52-1454 are planning to be consolidated to a combined area of about 8,500 of an acre. This consolidation is the first step in taking care of a stormwater management violation that Mr. Kozicki has received from the township some years ago. We needed to consolidate the two properties to create better building setback lines. He does have a desire to build a residential accessory building on there. Once that application comes back into the township for review, hopefully we'll be able to rectify the stormwater management violation and move forward. So that's the real reason behind this particular application as it relates to the consolidation of those two particular tax map parcels. Regarding waivers for this particular application, we have requested essentially 4, section 506(2)B, 506-0.4 as regards to cartway widening, section 513 and 514 curbs and sidewalks. Our feeling for the request of waiver is that this particular residential consolidation will not increase traffic or generate any additional impact. So therefore, we feel that no roadway widening is required. And curb and sidewalks are reason for the request for waiver. There is currently no curbs and sidewalks in the immediate area of this particular tax map parcel, either north or south. Does the board have any questions for me?
I have one, Todd. You said that he has a desire to possibly build an outbuilding or something onto the thing. Any idea what it is yet or not?
It's going to replace the existing garage. It's going to be expanded. Darius Kozicki has a collection of restored automobiles. And last time I talked to him, that's what he plans to put in that building. So it's not going to be used for any commercial activity. It's going to be used for storing of his personal vehicles.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Mr. Myers?
No questions. Was on the planning commission saw the planning commission meeting, so familiar, watched everything earlier.
Okay.
Same here.
Steve, where do you want to go with this?
Well, at this point, it would be appropriate for you to if you're comfortable with the plan, direct Mary to prepare the approval resolution for consideration at your next meeting.
Okay. So do I hear a motion for that?
I would make that David Collingwood.
Okay,
I will
Mr. Collingwood,
second
thank you. Second, thank you, Mr. Shermer. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, Mary, you can prepare.
Excuse, Mr. Chairman, just one question for Steve.
Yeah.
Is the December 28th review letter your last review letter?
No, it's the March 9th.
Yeah, that wasn't in the packet. So can you get that over to me?
Certainly.
Thank you.
You should have it, but I'll send it again.
Okay,
And then, so then the second plan on the agenda is also property owned by Mr. Kazicki, but this is his personal residence off of Tower Road.
And the idea behind this lot line adjustment is to give Mr. Kazicki's personal property, which is tax map parcel 52-3-144, a little larger area. His existing area, if I remember correctly, is about 1.05 acres. With this lot line adjustment, it's going to be 2.41 acres. So it's going to bring a pre-existing non-conforming lot a little bit better compliant, so to speak. And that's the real crux behind the whole lot line adjustments, just to give him a larger yard. We went through the planning commission meeting. We talked to the planning commission about 3 different waivers, and the waivers that we talked about, section 504, which is blocks and lots. This lot, since its original configuration back 25-30 years ago, is irregularly shaped. It's still irregularly shaped, but the shape is based upon the agreement with the 3 property owners that are involved in a lot line adjustment. The second waiver request, section 506-2B and 506-4, cartway widening. The only public road is actually Tower Road, and the frontage along Tower Road is a little over 55 feet. The access to the properties is from an pre-existing easement. So we're asking for a waiver from cartway improvements. The third and final request is again from 513 and 514 of the Saldo, which deals with curbs and sidewalks. Again, this is a access easement, a very rural portion of the township, and there's no curbs and sidewalks that exist in the immediate area. Is there any questions that I can entertain from the board?
Mr. Collingwood or Mr. Shermer, you have any questions, concerns?
Again, I was at the planning commission meetings when this was reviewed. Pretty much up to speed with it. Thank you.
Okay,
Also, listen to this at the planning commission. It's taking an old Tower Road lot and getting it closer to being less non-conforming. No questions.
okay. I'll entertain a motion for approval to move forward then. Or Mary, are we going to, does this have to be advertised? Like the last one? From Steve?
Not advertised, but you would need to direct the solicitor to prepare the resolution for next month's
Okay.
for consideration at next month's meeting.
Then I will,
I'll make that motion, David Collingwood.
Collingwood made the motion to prepare for next month's meeting. Mr.
I will
Shermer,
second.
second. All those signify by saying aye. Ayes have it. Is that all? Tom?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Only one other thing I wanted to bring up. At last night's meeting, we did not have a review extension for the Butter Creek Builders subdivision. If you remember, Tim Snyder's been working on revised plans for many years. We have recently received a new plan. He wants to revise the information before he comes back to the township. So at the time, the Planning Commission recommended a conditional denial, but since that time today, I received the extension letter. So
Okay.
at this point, there's no action required. I just wanted to clear that up from last night's meeting.
That's LD 505, correct?
Correct.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, thanks.
Other than
All right.
that, I have nothing unless there's questions.
Okay, are there any questions for Steve before we go forward?
I have none.
No
Okay,
questions.
I'll make a motion to approve the engineer's report as presented.
So moved.
All right, I made the motion. You're seconding it. Okay, all those signify by saying aye. Aye. Thank you. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the solicitor report. Mary Everly, how are you?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'm just swell. I don't have anything to report tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll save that for later then, huh?
Yes, I have things to report in executive session.
Okay, very good. All right, so there's nothing to report. We won't make a motion to approve anything. Moving on to the next item on the agenda is the manager's report. Mr. Greg Lippincott, how are you?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have 3 items on the manager's report. The first one is Provco Pine Good of Telford LLC, which we all know as Wawa, filed a zoning hearing board application. That will take place April 12th at the West Rock Hill Township Administration Building at 7 p.m. This is to inform the board that we received that application.
4/12, right?
Yeah, 4/12 at 7 p.m. at the Township Building.
All right, thank you.
The next item is we received a zoning hearing board application for 3115 Old State Road Associates. That has been scheduled for May 3rd at the Township Building at 7 p.m. This is a warehouse that does not meet the height restrictions, setback restrictions, impervious surface restrictions, and 2 other things that I can't think of off the top of my head. So that will go before the zoning hearing board on May 3rd.
Okay, thank you.
The last item is we received a petition from Heritage Place Village Petition, West Rock Hill zoning amendment. The only reason it's on the agenda is to let the board know that the township has received a petition to change the village zoning. This is at Ridge Road and Lawn Avenue to the north and east.
To the north and east.
Behind the old Wawa site.
Okay, I got
where
you.
the glider port used to be. Or
Yep, going down the hill. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Back towards Forest Road.
Yep.
So we received that.
All right. Well, you received it. Of course, we'll see what it is and where we go. All right. That's just a notification.
It's
Two
just a
comments.
notification.
Go ahead, Mr. Collingwood.
First of all, we'll go backwards. Mr. Lippincott, the notification, can that be placed on the township website so the world can see it?
Absolutely. I can set up a web page tomorrow and put all the documents up there so everyone can look at it.
And the second question, the meeting on 4/12 and then 5/3 at 7 p.m. Do you think, are there contingencies if our building isn't big enough for the people that may be showing up?
There isn't a contingency other than that's the advertised location. We can hold up to 55 people.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, and I did have, David just had my questions covered about the zoning board for Wawa, whether we need to think about Tylersport Fire Company or not. And just to double check, so the Heritage Place petition is the old DeLuca plan, the old Navarro ultralight field, right? Roughly.
Roughly, yes.
Okay, so Lawn Avenue over to the Fountain View Road and Ridge. Okay. Thank you.
And that's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Manager. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the manager's report.
So moved.
All right,
Second,
motion's
David
been made.
Carlson.
Second it. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Next on the agenda is any old business? Anybody have any old business they're going to bring up? I have none
I
at
have
this
none.
time. Okay, new business. Anybody have any new business?
I have one thing. I'm not sure if it's new or old business, and I think I heard some people talking about it when I logged on tonight, but I had intended to ask Mr. Lippincott what the status of the B Enterprise building is with all the chain link fence around it? And do they have permits, and what are they doing? And how derelict is that? How long is that derelict building going to remain there? And what's the rules of engagement for the people that own that? Or what's the status of what's going on with that building right now?
Currently, there are contractors out on the site shoring up the building. They're shoring up the building without permits. However, there is insurance out there. What they're doing is getting it prepped for a structural engineer to go in the building to decide if it's savable. And if it's savable, they'll have to bring in structural engineer drawings and get permits from the township, or decide if it's too far gone and it has to be torn down. So they're in a fact-finding position right now to see how much damage is done and if the building can be saved.
Thank you.
All right, Greg, may I ask you to inform us next month's meeting? I'd like a report on what the status is. If the thing has been shored up, where do we stand? Okay, so we don't have to ask again.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I will chime in that if I remember, that was the old Schlichter post office. And after the vinyl burned off of the one side, it is actually a brick building. So it's interesting. And should they have to demo it, I am pretty sure that the bricks from that building would have come from the brickyard, which is now behind the pond at James Park. That the very, very back of the Mann property once upon a time was a brickyard. So those are the same bricks you see at the Lichty Brick Barn, which is now the Hirschberger Heritage Organic Farm. So those are probably local fired bricks. So we might want to see about doing something to make sure that they aren't lost. See about the historical society maybe getting some of that. I'm not sure how much they want old bricks, but if they were locally made, locally fired, it might be worth it. Nothing else.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda is public comment. Anybody have any public comment they'd like to share? If you do so, please raise your hand, state your name. All right, I do see one on my screen here. Mr. Cole, I think it's Cliff Cole.
Yes, that's me.
Okay, Cliff, you're up. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep.
I'm Cliff Cole, 2440 Shoecraft Road. I'd like to comment on John's presentation that was given earlier in the meeting. I thought it was really great and commend his effort. I really hope that the Board of Supervisors will fully embrace the proposal. And I also hope that the board can not only just represent the rights of owners, but also can represent those of us who really care about the environment. A second thing I'd like to comment on is that the court case that the Board of Supervisors used to support the Citizens for Clean Air against the Adelphia Gateway compressor station, known as the Quakertown compressor station. There was some news from yesterday about the case. We have been trying for the last 3 years to appeal the PA DEP's clean air permit, and Adelphia has used all kinds of different forms of appeal to impede that. The federal Third Circuit of Appeals yesterday ruled in our favor. They affirmed our right to appeal the PA DEP's clean air permit to the PA Environmental Hearing Board. And they affirmed that this is clearly a state decision. We won in the state Commonwealth Court. So anyways, this is a big win for us. I've asked that I've sent the link that the Clean Air picked up this story, and we've had representatives of the Clean Air Council at the supervisors meetings before. And I was just wondering if the supervisors would agree to having this link that explains what happened with the case put out on the text chat. And even if you don't, anybody that's interested can just do a simple Google search on Adelphia and Third Circuit Court, and it will come up. I'd also like to make one more comment unrelated to either of those topics, and that's if the chief is still on. I'm not sure. I can't see.
2.5 minutes are up.
Can I please make a comment about to the chief? It's very short.
Make it brief. Yes, Cliff, you may.
Okay. When I was going across 563 on Allentown Road at that fairly busy intersection there were 3 dump trucks that had pulled out of the quarry, and the light turned green for me. They were waiting in line, and the first one was sort of halfway in the intersection and made a left on the yellow light. I can give that a pass. But the next 2 dump trucks behind it clearly violated the red light, and I had to wait, all that time for those guys to come through. It was very unsafe. And I was just wondering if the chief could please call our friends at the quarry and please ask their drivers to follow all the traffic laws like the rest of us citizens do.
Okay. I'm sure he will. Thank you. All right. Thanks for your comments, Mr. Cole. Anyone else with public comment? I don't see any on my screen. Greg, do you have any emails?
Sure. John Romeo of Lonely Road.
Okay.
John Swearduck compared West Rock Hill to Tinicum and Haycock. Those 2 townships would not be handing out waivers like they were free. They would have had Ferris, Durstein, Triple Net packing their bags and headed to a heavy zoned industrial area. So yeah, you can't have it both ways. Do you want to preserve our beautiful township or let the sharks take it? Wake up, you're destroying farmland for these warehouses. And then he continues, need cash for the pool. Take the cash you're going to waste on trails that very few would use, invest it right in the pool, and we'll always have money. I see very few using the existing trails. Why create more maintenance? We need the pool. We don't need trails. Where would we have sidewalks? Joggers use the road, right? Let's make the pool rich again.
Okay. Thank him for the comment. Okay. Or if he's listening, thank you for your comments. Any other comments? All right.
Just one realization that
Yes,
Ridge and
Hal.
Allentown was actually, Ridge and Allentown is Salford Township, and so unfortunately that traffic enforcement goes through state police out of Skipack.
Thank you.
That's all.
All right. Thank you. All right. I don't see any other public comment, so I will entertain a motion into executive session if that's okay. Do I hear a motion?
So moved, David Collingwood.
Thank you, Mr. Collingwood.
And seconded, Hal Shermer.
Second, Mr. Shermer. All those signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you all for the great meeting, and we will hopefully see you in April.
Yep,
Good
thank
night.
you, everyone.